Hey guys, in this video I'll give info on how to make your pit only Golducks and how to keep your Pokemon auto-attacking longer, as well as tips on shiny hunting the pit. I spent way too much time figuring out the mechanics of how to farm the pit. I found out a lot and I hit a bunch of dead ends too. The benefit to dead ends is that I was able to slowly rule out options and get some solutions for people. I have a lot of good info to give you and maybe, with other people's help, we can figure out the rest together. I tried to write this without rapid-firing facts at the start, but that wasn't working. To give tips about things, we all need to be on the same page so I don't have to give explanations with each tip. So please hear out the info at the start. These are interesting and I'll make them quick. And one quick point before I begin. The one challenge I faced in figuring out the Dratini problem is that I don't have any in my pit. My Scarlet version is 100% water spawns all the time, so I didn't use that for my deep dive. My Violet is Golduck and Dratini with some Vaporeon and Mischievous at night, so I use that for my deep dive. I'm assuming Dratini functions similar to Dratini, and even if not, it doesn't matter for some of these solutions anyway. Feel free to leave a comment about what your pit contains, and if any of the solutions helped or didn't help. There's been an amazing response from people already, but it's hard to get an idea of what people are doing from comments across several of my videos, especially since the first one got so many comments. Now for the information, in no particular order. The Golduck pit is found southwest of the Fighting Starfall base. It's here on the map. Different people reported different types of pits: Golduck and Dratini, Golduck and Dratini, Golduck, Dratini and Dratini, and straight Golduck. Pokemon don't learn moves or evolve from auto battles. You can farm up your team's experience until a Pokemon is close to leveling, then either use an experience candy or fight Golducks normally to initiate the evolution. I found two picnic spots on the rock walls, one on the southwest end and the other on the southeast end. There's also a quick pit refresh point behind the southwest picnic spot. I reset the spawns in 3 different ways in my testing: rebooting the game, picnicking, and re-entering the pit area. Picnicking created a bunch of Dratini spawns, way more than resetting the game or re-entering the arena. I'm expecting it's the same for Dratini. Please tell me in the comments. Picnicking takes around 9 seconds. Running to grass and back takes around 10 seconds. Leaving the pit area and returning up the rock wall takes about 15 seconds. And resetting the game takes around 45 seconds. I caught dual-type Pokemon to fight dragons and tested on Dratinis in the northern area since my pit doesn't have any. The pit is bigger than just one spawning zone. You can cycle enemies by running around it. Pokemon at the other end will go away and Pokemon will spawn closer to you. There seems to be between 14 to 15 Pokemon spawned in the pit at a time. This seems to be true for individual Dratinis, so a Dratini pack that spawns 5 units will take up the space of 5 Golducks. My copy of Scarlet didn't spawn any shiny Golducks ever. I beat thousands of Golducks, not a single shiny, even though it only spawns Golducks. I've had at least 2 shiny Golducks on my Violet game in a relatively short period of time. There are clearly differences between the cartridges. Changing date and time doesn't seem to affect spawns. I tested it a lot. There are at least 4 points on the spike in the middle of the pit to stand on. You can farm Golducks from inside the pit, 3 to 4 spots on the pit spike, and on the rock wall. You just need to summon your lead inside the pit and then jump up. Your lead will stop attacking Pokemon if the battle would be too close to you. Encounter food affects the pit, but Humongo food doesn't seem to. The best Pokemon to farm the pit in my opinion are Flapple for a Dratini pit and Meowscarada for every other type. There are several non-food ways to make Golduck the one Pokemon that spawns, but this video was taking too long to prepare already, so that's one thing I couldn't explore further. And the final point, Pokemon nature seems to correlate to auto-battling times. Now for the details. Spawns aren't dictated by your location, at least not exclusively. I did circles around the pit both inside and on the rock wall, and the spawns weren't always similar at the same spot the next time I came around, but there were many instances of completely different spots having similar spawns if I did them in a short period of time. My theory right now is that there are additional game mechanics deciding the spawns. Maybe one mechanic for common spawns like Golducks, and a second mechanic that decides how many uncommon spawns there are, like Dratinis or Dratinis perhaps. I was able to keep an exclusively Golduck pit even after food wore off, and some other ways that I don't quite understand yet. You can modify pit spawns with food. Water Encounter removes most to all of the dragons, and Dragon Encounter removes nearly all Golducks. I wasn't able to test ghost encounter food because I couldn't find any restaurants that sell it, and my Violet doesn't have any gyms done. I wasn't going to do the gyms just to test for Misdreavus and Mismagius though. If someone is interested, please test and let us know the results. Picnicking is an excellent way to shiny farm the pit for Misdreavus, Mismagius, and Dratini. Others are a bit harder to spot at a distance, especially Dreepy, since its shiny version is so similar to the regular one. You can reset the spawned Pokemon every 10 seconds with picnicking, and don't even really have to enter the pit to check for shinies. You can modify the shiny farm with food, but again, I'm not sure about encounter ghost food at this time. Regardless, I strongly suggest picnic refreshing the pit for dragon hunting and shiny hunting in general. Most of the ledges on the pit spike aren't great for farming Golducks at this time. They're either too high to summon your lead, or too low and your presence can stop your lead from auto-attacking sometimes if they get too close to you. Pokemon also seem to scatter when you're on the spike, and I found it harder to keep my main passively attacking Pokemon while they were chilling around the perimeter of the pit. I found a workaround for the low spike spot, but it's a bit of a pain. Pokemon will spawn in the pit if you're mounted and sit right on this rock. This is the only time I found that Pokemon will spawn while you're wall climbing. If you get it right, you can even stand on it while mounted. The high spots often don't let you summon your lead, so it's necessary to climb down, summon your lead, and climb back up to it after. With a bit of time, you can get good at climbing onto the pit spike ledges. One tip I can give is it's really helpful to line yourself up with the spot you're trying to get to before jumping at the rock. Once you're just above the spot you want to get to, dismount. If you want to farm the pit with dragons in it, you need a dual type that's super effective against water and dragon, meaning a combination of grass or electric, and fairy, dragon, or ice. The best option in my opinion is Flapple, but I'll give info on all the main options. I'm excluding legendaries since you can't make an army of them to keep experience high by keeping your leads level low. You can find Applin here. Give it a tart apple to evolve it and get it to level 35-ish and it'll clean out the pit for you. You can find all the apples you need in Tag Tree Thicket on the ground. Just run around for a bit collecting things. They're everywhere. You can find Snover and Abomasnow all over the Ice Mountain. They can take out pit spawns at a relatively low level, but they move slowly. You can find Dedenne here, but it's slow and weak, and you need to level it way higher to get it to take out things than a Flapple, for example. You can find Rotom here. You'll need to bid for the Rotom catalog at Porto Marinata to change it to a Frost Rotom if you want to clear dragons though, and it needs to be leveled to around 40 to start clearing the pit. Straight up, I'm just creating a Meowscarada and Flapple army. Meowscarada and Florgato are beasts on the world map. They just Naruto run around and melt Pokemon. It's by far my #1 choice for farming Golducks. Floragato can start clearing Golducks at around level 26. Look at this experience. And if that isn't convincing enough, Meowscarada is Grass Dark type, meaning it hits super effective against the entire Dreepy line and Misdreavus line. The only thing it isn't super effective against is Dratinis, and it melts those too. Pokemon nature seems to affect auto-battling. My Scarlet copy was the one I used for my original video, and I was getting AFK times well over 10 minutes often. I was surprised when people said in the comments that their lead would stop attacking after a couple minutes, and I started to experience that in my Violet copy too. I didn't know at the time that my lead on Scarlet had a hasty nature. I tested 6 of the natures and recorded times of each over a couple runs. The only one I couldn't get full times for was hasty, because the one way my hasty Meowscarada would stop attacking is by running out of Golducks in its vicinity. There's lots more testing left to do, but I didn't want to delay this video another day or two. Test it for yourself if you like, but I found hasty to be the best nature for auto-battling of all the natures I tested. For some final thoughts. If you're having problems with dragons, eat water and counter food. It gives 30 minutes of little to no dragons. If you're cool farming with dragons in the pit, my suggestion is Flapple. Meowscarada is, in my opinion, the best Pokemon for the pit. Nothing else even comes close. If you want to farm shinies in the pit, eat a proper encounter food for them and picnic at the pit. It refreshes the pit Pokemon every 10 seconds. If your lead doesn't attack for very long, change its nature. Hasty is the best I've found. There may even be better than that, but I haven't fully tested natures to know what's best at this time. There are ways to keep your pit only Golducks besides food, but I don't know how to do it yet, and I'm not sure if I'll spend the time to do it. I haven't figured out how to prevent shiny Golducks from stopping your lead auto-attacking, or how to wrangle Pokemon into one small corner to keep your lead attacking forever. Please like this video, comment, and subscribe so more people can see this video, because apparently that's what the YouTube algorithm needs. I really appreciate all the feedback, encouragement, and criticism. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.